Yeah, so once again, I'm going live tonight. So you know what? Bishop Scott told me to come on, and he told me and Shaq need to have a talk about health and uh, stuff like that. Um, it's supposed to be like a strike with Amtrak going on or something, you know. Amtrak could be going through a strike or something like that because of railway conditions and you know all the other stuff going on in the world. What else isn't going on, right? Right. We got a lot of things going on in the world. They claim it could be the end of the world. I'm not going. Oh shoot! I ain't mean to do that. But yeah, uh, it is what it is. So what's going on your end of the world?
Oh, slow motion, man. Slow motion. You know it. Eyes, keeping my eyes on the sparrow, baby. Keep my eyes on the damn sparrow. Huh?
Right. Okay. Well, I got you. All right. Let me get myself together. All right. Let's go. I was asleep earlier. Let's see. Messing with life. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. All right. What we got? All right, Shaq, can you see that? Shaq, where you
Yeah, I
at?
see it.
U.S. railway workers prepare for strike as rail companies see record profits. Workers are prepared to walk. U.S. freight workers are close to striking over claims that grueling scheduling and poor working conditions have been driving employees out of the industry for years. If no deal is reached, unions are threatening industrial act the first since 1990 and say they will quit the industry facing already staff shortages. It would cost the U.S. economy $2 billion a day. Um, Between November and December 20th, the railway industry lost 40,000 jobs. U.S. industry workforce dropped more than 1 million workers in the 1950s to fewer than 150,000 in 2022. Labor cuts, lackadaisical, persistent scheduling to reduce headcounts, disciplinary attendance policy, issue points against workers for any time taking off and unfair, and punishing the on-call schedule made it more difficult to continue working in the railroad industry. Grooters and workers claim. Okay, so basically what it's saying, these people would probably might walk, and they're gonna deal with this. What's your thoughts about this? What you got? What's your thoughts, man? Can you hear me?
Well, we had to see how this play out, man. If they actually gonna if they actually gonna stage a full bullet strike, or they is the is they going at the unions, or who they going at? They going at the
They're not going at the union. No, they got the union.
uh
They just saying they don't like the company's policies.
also it's the company that they got they beefing with right now. Going with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Company we got the
Well, we should
problem.
have knew this was coming. We're going in a minute, and it's about time for the same things gonna happen for the government. I mean the federal workers and shit, government employees. It's gonna be the same shit with all this inflation shit, right? They're gonna be wanting more money because they bills going up too. Our bills go up. They bills going up. They make a lot more than we do, but they still got a lot more to lose too than we do. You know what I mean? Because their bills are higher, and it's keep going up, going up, going up. You know, it's gonna be a trickle
I
down effect.
a teenage human trafficking victim who was initially charged with first degree murder as she stabbed her accused rapist to death was sentenced Tuesday in our court to pay 5 years of close to supervised probation, ordered to pay $150,000 and restitution to the man's family. So she was the one who was supposed to be the victim, but they making her pay restitution to the man. Crazy, right? Yeah. What a turn of events, ain't it? You hear me? You hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, say it again. This shit keep acting up.
The
Mm-hmm.
woman, she was the victim of sex trafficking or human
Mm-hmm.
trafficking, or whatever. But they making her pay for wounding the person who tried to attack her.
And where is this at? Well, hold on. What is that? See, that's what I'm saying, man. We got too much lawlessness going on, man. You know what I
That's
mean?
an hour.
That's in who?
Hour.
Iowa. Okay.
Yeah.
And she got to pay. Boy, I tell you, boy, it ain't the system.
Let me say something. Let me go back to one thing. Amtrak cancels all long distance train services as of September 15th amid labor disputes. So they are canceling long distance service. Okay, just point that out there.
Yeah, they counseling. Yeah, I know. Let's state the strike. The full walkout supposed to be Friday, right?
Yeah.
Or the full strike is supposed to start Friday.
Yeah, they're making the moves, man.
What you really want to do when you get rejected. What you really want to do when you get rejected.
So
What's that?
I gotta find this other one. But anyway, since I'm talking about this railway thing, I want to bring it like Bishop had brought up earlier. So he said that we need to talk about rationing off food and rationing off and being more conscious with our diets and stuff. What do you think? You think it's about that time?
It should have been about that time, man. I mean, the SAD standard American diet is garbage. They should have been changed that shit, man. Now you can't make that make sense to me. You can't sit up and tell me that so-called black folks, melanated black folks, Hispanic and all this more leading this different diseases, and y'all ain't changed the standard food system. Come on, man.
No, they have not changed it, Shaq, unfortunately. Yeah, they haven't changed it. Isn't that a shame?
They
You don't
need to
think that's a
change it,
shame?
man. Like, and you got what you got Biden crazy with talking about. They talking about What he talking about? Did he say curing?
Curing
What's the
cancer.
name of
Yeah.
cancer, or he just talking
Curing
about?
cancer. Yeah. Yeah, curing cancer.
Man, that dude ain't talking about nothing.
You say he ain't talking about nothing. Mm-hmm. You say he ain't talking about nothing, huh? Well, is he trying to talk about it? Now, what do you think about it though? I mean, like, so we need to get a little bit more plant-based. We need to um, drink more water, food. Like I said, I can give you a list of things: asparagus, broccoli, green, carrots, almonds. I can give you a whole list of things that you can do. I mean, you know, watch our meat intake. Get up 30 minutes a day if you can. Go walking early in the morning. You got a dog walking for an hour, if you got a dog, right? You can do a whole lot of things to help this problem, man. But I have been seeing a lot of obesity lately, man. I saw one guy play ball with one time. I said, dang, he done gained like 50 pounds since 2020. Call it pandemic weight, but we still should have been exercising. We should have been confined to the house just because they told us we couldn't go to work. So that's how I look at it, brother. So, we still got to keep an active lifestyle. We got to get off the video games and all that stuff. We got to do something. But we do have to, watch our diets, especially right now. That would be great to do. You agree with what I'm saying there? You understand where I'm coming from?
Well, Bernard, I gotta call bullshit on that pandemic weight shit because, like you said,
That's what they say.
let me ask you,
I don't say that.
let me ask you, and everybody listening, who is the most locked down people? Who is the most locked down and restricted people
Over there in China,
in
ain't they?
America?
Oh, I
No,
thought
no, in America. Now, in America, it's very easy. Who is always locked down and so-called restricted? If
supposed to
they
be
ain't
us,
fat. No. It's real easy.
Asians.
No. Prison. People in
Oh,
prison does in conflict. They stay
prison,
locked down. Yeah.
prison.
But them niggas, they ain't fat. They do some of them do gain weight, but but they still work out and train and work out. So it ain't no damn excuse that you supposedly was locked in the house. That's still when your legs wasn't broke, your arms wasn't broke, your feet wasn't broke. Could have got your ass up. You could have jogged around your goddamn living room, your basement or your attic, or you could have did calisthenics. Calisthenics could be done anywhere. You don't have to go to a gym to do calisthenics. And calisthenics is what? It's pretty much using your own body weight, right? That's physical fitness. So we need physical fitness. That's a natural thing for us. Physical fitness along with eating.
Bishop says we need to be educated on how to live a healthy life, especially those who feel disabled. Okay. So this is me. I can only suggest. And remember, guys, I'm not a doctor. I'm supposed to be a personal trainer and a nutrition coach. I am not a doctor, guys. Remember, according to the medical establishment, right? Of course, I could be a doctor. I probably am a doctor. I'm probably all of that. That I just don't have a title, you know what I'm saying? But let's put it this way, in the sense of the word. Maybe I would just say this: we got to get off more fried foods, and we got to get off all this excess fat. I know people say I love the soul food, the macaroni and cheese. The stuff got high carbohydrates. It's killing our ass. Look, people say, "Oh yeah, I lived to 50 years old, 60 years old." Yeah, but did you have high blood pressure? Did you have problems? Yes, you did. When I go to work or I be out places, sometimes I see people with especially a lot of us, they got food in the bag, but they also got medicine in the bag, right? You go get a medicine bottle and it says eat with food, right? Why does the bottle say eat with food? Maybe because if you don't eat with food, it might kill your ass. How do I know? Right? I think I had some ibuprofen or something that they gave me one time. I went to dinner and I didn't even hardly use it. But I read it. It's got side effects on there. It'll tell you eat with food, eat with water, drink water. It tell you everything you need to do on there. If get sick, call your doctor. Instructions on the package.
Call your doctor, but I'm gonna tell you the best person to give you information about the prescription medicine. Ask your pharmacist. Ask questions to your pharmacist. They know way more and give you way more in depth than your doctor would.
Yeah,
that's another way you can get. They will let you know. Your pharmacist will let you know. Don't be scared to ask questions. That's the number one thing we cannot be scared.
He's supposed to prescribe. Huh? Look, all that he gonna do is send you to he said, I'm gonna send you to a pharmacist. That's all he do.
What he's supposed to do. He send you prescribe it and he send you to the pharmacist. You are supposed to ask the questions. You ask the pharmacist the questions that that you want to ask. You know what I mean? That you're curious about. Don't be scared to ask them nothing about this medication. Hey, I'm taking this medication. I'm already taking this medication. I'm on this specific diet. Does this medication, is it going to affect with my normal regimen? You know what I mean? Ask the questions, man. Open your mouth and talk. It's your life. They don't know. They don't know what your daily life is. So you have to open up and tell. They can only give you the recommended prescribed dose. Well, you will have to take the extra steps, you know what I mean, to do what you're supposed to do, because a lot of us ain't eating the right things, like you said, the right diets. A lot of us, we got bad diet.
Let's put it this way. We need more amino acids, more antioxidants and stuff like that in our diet, right? That's what some things we should be eating, right? We're just putting it out there, right?
Well, minerals, vitamins, vital minerals, yes.
Maybe some supplements, whatever.
Yeah, like I said, just take a break sometime.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna tell people in the chat, if you want to look up amino acids and stuff that you should use, just try some amino acids and antioxidants. I'm not gonna go over every nook and cranny of
enzymes.
Yeah. I'm just putting it out there. But you do have to think about it right now, because right now we at war. So, survival of the fittest. So I'm like, yeah, you might want to think about what you're eating and drinking.
Yeah. And we're going into the cold months. So we're going into the hibernation. Naturally, we're supposed to be hibernating during the winter months. Harvest supposed to be taken up. Like my father, he still works on the farm down in Mississippi. And I just talked to him tonight. And they busting their butt. They working all the way to 9. They working from 7 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. They got to get the corn, cotton, all this stuff. It's harvest season. So we have to prepare ourselves and our bodies for the harvest season. Like this is we getting ready to go into the cold months. Now this is supposed to be, like you said, supposed to be hibernation. So you're supposed to prepare yourself for these next 3 months, 4 or 5 months, whatever. Certain things you can start eating, like you said, start getting ramping up on your vitamin C, vitamin D3, zinc, magnesium, anything that has potassium in it. I mean, if you're low in iron and stuff, you could get your don't forget your vitamin B12. I mean, the vitamin B12, because that's key. I didn't know vitamin B12 was key to helping with your blood. I didn't know that. All this time I didn't know vitamin B12 helps your red blood cells, I think. Help you regenerate red blood cells, if I'm not mistaken. Look up what all the benefits of vitamin B12 does and how to get it. What's the best source to get it from? Because I'm gonna tell you, we finna go and we might be going into a real dark winter, because we was lackadaisy in this summertime. We heat. Down here in Texas, it got hot early, like early May, early June. It was hot, like, you know what I mean? And people was lackadaisy. We was out partying. We was out partying. We was eating all type of things. You know, when the summertime, you tend to eat more during the summertime than you do any other months. So you might have to shed some of that summer weight. You know what I mean? And the wintertime is normally supposed to be the time where you trim down because you're not eating as much per se because you're preserving. You know, you got certain things that you're eating over the wintertime. You might be eating beans, you know, soups, stews, you know, a lot of greens, a lot of root vegetables. You know what I mean? You got your sweet potatoes, you got the cauliflower, you got rutabagas, you got beets, you got give me some more. You got squash, you got the butternut squash, you got the acorn squash, you got pumpkins, you got pumpkin seeds. These are all things that you can use. And these are natural things. They got natural vitamins and minerals and all, you say, whatever enzymes and stuff that you need. You know, you got your tomato soups. You got tomatoes you can eat. You got Swiss chard. These are different green leafy vegetables. You know, you got bok choy. You got kale. You know, everybody use kale, spinach, basil, all these things, basil, parsley. I mean, you even get the fresh ones. Try to get the fresh ones right now. You know, I mean, you can use some of the seasonings, the powder. I mean, yeah, the powder or the spices, but try to get fresh bark, basil, fresh parsley, fresh oregano. You got garlic is always good. Garlic is always good. Garlic and onions, red onions, white onions, definitely red onions is excellent for cold and flu seasons, and just overall inflammation and antiviral. Garlic, honey, and onion, lemon, lime. You mix that together, man. You'd have made you a powerful cocktail that can damn near knock anything out. You know what I mean? Blend it up. You got a blender. I suggest you start blending all those things up. You could drink it raw, strain it and drink it raw, because you're going to get more potency from it if you drink it raw, whether you put heat on it. And because some people want to put heat on it and boil it, you know what I mean? But as far as the garlic, the onion, you got garlic, onion, lemon, limes, ginger you can throw over in there too. Turmeric I always can throw over in there. These are things, cinnamon. Don't forget your cinnamon. I'm going to tell everybody, Bishop, get cinnamon and ginger and turmeric as much as possible in your diet all year round.
Is that turmeric? Yeah, turmeric. I got some downstairs. Yeah, turmeric.
Yeah, turmeric. Yeah. And turmeric is excellent to go good with black pepper, because I guess black pepper is a carrier. If I'm not mistaken, it helps carry some of these other spices and stuff through your digestive system better. I mean, if I'm not mistaken. So black pepper, turmeric, ginger, honey, and cinnamon. You could just make that little cocktail right there. You know what I mean? And get your raw honey. Raw, unfiltered honey is better for you. Preferably like in a glass container.
Yeah, $10.
But it's good.
No, I know it's a real thing though.
Yeah.
Any honey for $2 is not real honey. That's processed. It's not real honey. Yeah, just point it out.
Try to get real maple syrup too in the glass. Then that stuff's gonna be expensive. It's gonna be expensive, $10, $15, $20, some of them $30. But once you buy it and get it on deck and stock yourself up, you know, with these are basic things. These ain't alternative. Like, we got to stop talking about alternative eating. No, these are natural ways you're supposed to eat. We've been eating alternative. Had an alternative diet for years. They switched up the diet. Switched our diet and our eating habits up years, switched up the plant like medicine and stuff. Medicine, the herbs was for the healing of the nation. Herbs are for the healing of the nation. They switched that up. I think it was, who was it? Your boy them. Who was your boy them? Rockefeller them. They switched all that up years ago. You know, changed that over, switched that up. You know what I mean? They started making everything about chemical and drugs, mixing chemical and drugs and stuff, and taking away some of the natural things. Plants, herbs, vegetable, fruit, those are natural. Those will grow out of the earth through photosynthesis, photogenesis, what they call it. From the sun, grows from the sun, the earth, and the water. It grows from that. Those are the key things that it grows from.
You know what, Bishop? Come and think about it. I just want to break this stuff down because he did tell me earlier to break this thing down a little bit. And you got the information. Hey, Bishop, I did accidentally. I sent you a link. You come on if you want to. I want to just
Bishop, come on and join us, bro. Ask some questions.
Condolences to my buddy Frank on the passing of his father. So that was another thing I wanted to
condolences, Frank.
So we didn't
salute, brother.
I didn't bring that up. I probably should have asked him, but I'm not gonna ask him to come on right now. He'll let him go through that. I could have asked him to come on actually, but you know, you just let it subside. Several times. But like I said, hey.
Well,
let me bring something up though. Let me bring something up because I told Bishop I was gonna bring up a couple things tonight, and I fell asleep, but I'm up now, right? So, okay, you got your CPAP machine. No worries about it, brother. Okay. Now, let me bring this up. Chaq, I know you about to get on me, but this is about the mind fuck, okay?
Chelsea follows rap music. She has ever since she was a little girl. But I kind of came to awareness of you with the Cardi B WAP. I've always wanted to do a song with Cardi. As soon as she sent me the song, I think I sent it back to her like the next day. And it was just so exciting. The men, they seem so confident in what they're saying, and they don't have no problem with talking about their sexuality and how they're going to have sex with you. So I was like, well,
Fair Use Act of 1976. This is for commentary purposes only, education, teaching. Otherwise, and I'm going to be dead on with you, just for criticism and news reporting too. But we got to understand stuff. I'm going to go ahead, but let me go ahead and let it play.
And it's going to sound fire coming from a woman. It's great to see women be so fierce. That is my life's mission to make sure that I'm always unapologetically me.
Yo, what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Kai X Limitless, and we're back again with another one. We're talking about Megan Thee Stallion and Hillary Clinton, right? So, Megan has had a sit down with Hillary Clinton talking about WAP, and Hillary's talking about, I know one of my daughters like your music. And you know what this screams to me? This is, it's always a political move, right? To go to the top female rappers and try to get the quote unquote black vote, right? Which they're so entitled to, man. I think we might need to really switch.
Chelsea follows rap music. She has ever since she was a little girl. But I kind of came to awareness of you with the Cardi B WAP. I've always wanted to do a song with Cardi. As soon as she sent me the song, I think I sent it back to her like the next day.
All right. What do you think about this crazy stuff, man? This is crazy stuff, right? Is she looking for the black vote, Chaq?
Okay, now I will ask the question. What? Once again, okay. Let's just say, let's follow this road. Let's say, okay, you went to my Megan Thee Stallion, you say you lied, you say you like that type of music. Okay. Now, let's get down to business. Now, let's talk business, though. Say it again.
If it's a stallion, it's a man. If it's a man, it's a woman. Man.
Okay, well, let's talk business then.
But go.
What are you? What purpose did you want to link with Megan Thee Stallion? Because if you're looking for the black vote, once again, what are you willing to give us for us voting for you? Also called black folks voting for you. What are you willing to give? Anything tangible? Are y'all gonna give out scholarships, free scholarships to children, to our future graduates for STEM programs, for engineering, science, technology, and math, specifically? Because that's called quid pro quo. Y'all do that with they do that with every politics does it with every other group of people, ethnic group of people. It's called quid pro quo.
Pico won a 2020.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's called quid pro quo. Now, so what are you gonna give us? You know what I mean? Don't just sit down and talk with a motherfucker. Okay, we tired of y'all talking, man. Y'all ain't doing shit.
It wants some wet ass pussy.
You know what? They might. They look here. They might. Because why you didn't go to the men then? See, why you didn't go to the so-called black men? Why Hillary Clinton didn't sit down with Ice Cube, who had a plan for so-called Black America, a contract for y'all to sign? See, why didn't they go and sit down with Ice Cube? Why didn't they have a conversation with him? Why didn't they go to the men? Why did they go to the women?
Shaq, why you want me to do a contract? Contract mean I gotta be bound, and if I breach contract, I gotta pay.
Damn right. Hey, don't we sign contracts? Ain't America when the United States Corporation of America built off contracts and treaties? Huh? Right. Everything you got to do in this society, in this system that they've created, you know what I mean? You got to sign a contract, terms and conditions. So why we don't throw that back on them? That's their language. But see, we let them come in and fluff us and bluff us. And then we got people like Tamika Mallory and some of these black coon caucus niggas that pump fake like they really gonna do something, and they ain't gonna do shit. They in the way. They in the way for a reason, man. They like door stops. They in the goddamn way. Telling us John Lewis instead of telling motherfuckers, was it John? No, what's the dude? The one that's on the in the Supreme Court. What's that nigga name? Telling motherfuckers that he ain't gonna do nothing. He don't want nothing. He ain't. Dude, then why do y'all always want to pander to so-called the black vote? Once again, why? You don't do shit for our neighborhoods, right? We don't have no businesses coming in our neighborhood. Y'all ain't giving out business loans. Y'all ain't giving out good mortgage rates, right?
All right, wait a minute, Shaq. Let me pull some up for you. I want you to hear something. This one we need to be asking.
Yeah.
Yesterday, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told CNN that the European Union's planned suspension of Russian gas exports may cause Americans morphine at the pump this winter. Let's watch.
Gas prices have actually fallen about $1.40 from their peak. Some are worried, though, that they could go back up in the winter. Should Americans be ready for that?
Well, it's a risk. And it's a risk that we're working on the price cap to try to address. This winter, the European Union will cease, for the most part, buying Russian oil. And in addition, they will ban the provision of services that enable Russia to ship oil by tanker. And it is possible that could cause a spike in oil prices.
Yellen's warning comes
why
after
do it
a
then?
proposed price cap on Russian energy earned the support of the G7. Guidance released by the Treasury Department on Friday warned Western energy companies that purchases of Russian oil above the price cap may result in sanctions enforcement action. As the European Union weighs implementing a similar price cap, President Vladimir Putin jeered at EU leaders over the weekend, calling the idea stupid and warning it will cause Europe to freeze this winter. And it very well might. I mean, people are going to have much more difficulty than they're already having procuring energy. Janet Yellen described this as a risk, but the implicit part, as she says that, is this is a risk worth taking, obviously, is what our government's saying. Well, this is like they're admitting this is going to be painful, and they're saying we're just going to do this anyway because we believe our Ukraine-Russia policy is the right one, or we believe our energy policy more broadly is the right one. A very confused energy policy of like punishing Russia, but then begging Saudi Arabia for more gasoline, even though we don't want to drill more, we don't want to produce more domestically, but we have to ask for it from other. Like it's just insane to me that I complain about this every time we talk about this subject. But my view is I don't understand why U.S. officials like Yellen and others don't get this. Like the American people don't want to suffer this pain. Like they don't want to freeze like their European compatriots. So if our government leaders don't listen to the people and don't rethink some of these policies, they're just like the people are going to. Not literally rise up, but eventually, I guess if it got that painful, but they're going to vote them out. This is going to be the end of the Biden administration. Why don't they get that?
I know it's very distressing. It's a sort of classic example of cutting off your nose to spite your face, except you're cutting off someone else's nose, right? Like,
Yeah.
That's the thing here, is that the moral preening of the elites is always paid for by the working class, and so they can keep doing. You look at California, right? You have this huge energy crisis right now. With the price of electricity is skyrocketing. The grid is about to collapse, right? But the rich people who have massive amounts of land, they all have their their sort of sun roofs, right? So they're not, paying for it. They're sitting there morally preening. They're, overwhelmingly support all of making electricity more expensive, and then it's their working class neighbors who end up paying for it. It's the same thing here. Working class people are going to end up paying for this at the pump, whereas rich people zipping around in their electric cars, right, are not going to feel it, and then are going to brag about how they have an electric car, and so they're not feeling it. And the people, the American people, the working class, the middle class, were the people who were not consulted when we ran headlong into our, like you said, our Ukraine-Russia policy. And it's so distressing, especially now that finally gas prices are coming down after a high of, it was like $6 on average. It's very distressing.
Because there's no public appetite for doing this. It's not even like the 9/11 scenario which you talked about in your radar, where like, yeah, it hurts, but 90% of people approve of our president and want to do whatever it takes to stop Vladimir Putin. That is not the case. Like, if you ask people, they'll say, no, I don't want to pay higher gas prices for this conflict. I'm not willing to do it. I can't afford to do it. What if you're a truck driver? What if you have a business? I have a family member who has a business that involves great small business, involves driving around in a large vehicle a lot, from work site to work site. Think how people like that, their take home pay is being squeezed by a policy that has created this. We're really glad that gas prices are coming down now. I think that's probably the main reason Democrats no longer look like they're going to get totally, utterly destroyed and wiped out in the midterms. There are other reasons, but I think one of the big ones is that actually the situation's not as bad as it was 4 or 5 months ago. But so maybe the administration is savvy enough to time the massive hits, the massive price increases for energy, far enough before and then somewhat after the election. Maybe they actually have enough savvy to do that, because people are going to punish them for it. They don't want to pay these prices.
Yeah, it's really horrifying, but I think it does expose a more general pattern of like I said, moral preening, polishing your halo, and then asking somebody else to pay the price for you feeling good about yourself. Ralph Schulhammer, who we had on Rising a few months ago, made a really important point.
Let me cut in there,
man.
man.
Have a middle class without affordable energy.
Hold on.
And whether it's foreign policy with the war in Ukraine, domestic policy with electric vehicles and banning gas cars,
Yeah, it's over anyway. It ain't even got like 20 seconds. Go ahead.
See, they want to make all the people suffer because of two people. You got these motherfuckers that's trying to have this dick swinging contest with Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin don't agree with some of these liberal extremists, leftist, LGBT extremist ideologies that they're trying to force on people, right? So they want to penalize them two, right? They want to penalize those two, right? And it's costing everybody, because they want it's a dick measuring contest. They want to penalize us and they want to penalize them. So we're suffering the benefit of that. They stopped this administration, as soon as they got office, they stopped their pipeline. Our own pipeline, right? The Keystone pipeline, right? They shut that down. Why did they do that? They need to act. No, hold on. They need to answer these questions. Why did y'all shut this down? And now look what we spinning out of control, where gas went up, inflation went up. Y'all got to beg other people for they gasoline or whatever, because y'all want to create some fake green new energy, which we still don't know what the hell that is, because it's still money in y'all pockets, because it's still on the wheel of fortune. We don't get a part of that. Are you going to offer those green jobs to our children, our future generations, or are you going to ship those jobs off to foreign? Those are going to be foreign jobs. careers
right.
and stuff.
Let me help you out, because you just talked about something very interesting. Let me play one more. Act of 1976. This is for teaching purposes only. I want you to hear this now. This for you, since you were talking about these extreme
When I started my
ideologies.
business in 2011,
I'm trying to help
I
you
chose
out,
Wix,
Relax.
and it was
Don't worry
really
about
because the aesthetic.
A legislative package dealing with maternal health care, approved by members of New York City's City Council last month, replaces all references to mothers with birthing persons. Now, the legislation's supporters say it will reduce racial disparities in pregnancy care and outcomes. Greg Gutfeld blasted Team Blue over a poll conducted by WPA Intelligence that found nearly 1 in 4 Democrats believe men can get pregnant. Let's watch.
A new poll finds that 22% of Democrats agreed with the statement, some men can get pregnant. And 36% of white college-educated female Democrats agreed that, yes, a man can get pregnant. I'd love someone to ask them, okay, how many pregnant men do you think there really are? Because I think that would help correct this madness. No one ever asked that question.
So I hate just utterly hate. I don't know how you feel about it. Loathe the phrase birthing persons. It just sounds so impersonal to me. It's not a being.
You're talking about extreme ideology. So, Shaq, how do you feel about the word birthing persons?
What does that have to do with me? That's a streamer's identity right now. If there's somebody want to identify that, you can do that on your own time. Why are you thrusting in there on all the people, right? Why are you trying to identify and reclassify all people? And definitely women, because only women can birth babies. Men, biologically, were not designed to birth any children. That's a lie. When in history have you ever heard a man having a baby? Now, if it's some crazy creation they coming up with, some type of artificial insemination of pregnant, of birth, some new technology they coming up with that goes against nature, the natural order of things, that's a different story. You need to quantify that. Don't mix up the words with birthing person. Why would you take a woman that been wanting to get pregnant and want to have her first child? You're going to take her rights from her to call herself a mother and to have a natural birth through the birth canal. Or maybe she had to have a C-section. However, why would you, left extremists, LGBT extremists, take that right and that away from a biological woman? Why? Why? Explain to me why. Because that ain't no word. That's equality. That's not equality for women. That's not the woman's right. Is that does that fall up on the women's rights? But number one, a man is not a woman. Now, if y'all want to transform yourself into a woman,
men can get pregnant.
That's a different story.
Didn't they just tell you 22% of Democrats believe that men can get pregnant?
See now, why are we having these type of Democrats? Or we might have some Republican conservatives that think this way too. Maybe not. They may be behind the scenes. Why are these people making choices for the majority of people? Why? Right? Because I guarantee you the number of people that they're trying to represent is such a small number compared to the majority that's thinking like this, that a man had never ever had the ability to get pregnant. Where is he gonna get pregnant at? Where does the semen go in his rectum? Where you inject it or what? You're gonna inject the baby in his stomach? What? You're gonna already inseminate a baby into his stomach? I mean, what you gonna do? You gonna let me know what's the process, because it never has been done before. If there's something new y'all came up with, you need to state that. But this is another extremist idea. You're going too far left. What I say, Bernard? When you lean too far left, what do you do? What do you? Huh?
Mm-hmm. You're on
what I say? When you lean, but when you lean too far left, you're off balance. You lean too far left, you off balance. Don't forget that. You lean too far to the right, you off balance.
I want you now. Look, we've been talking about purging and all that. The movie The Purge. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's put it together. Oh, we got Gavin on. What's going on, Gavin? How you doing, sir?
Oh, what's the deal, Pickles? How y'all doing tonight?
I don't know.
Man, peace and blessings to you, brother, man.
All right.
Brother, man from another land.
I'm just from New Orleans.
Yeah. New Orleans got a lot of things going on too. As a matter of fact, with this mayor named Cantrell, but I'm not really getting into that right now.
TD, that's her nickname. You know what TD is? That's basically a play on the word auntie. So they call her TD Cantrell. So she's the auntie that, that's gonna take care of everything. But really, the only thing she's taking care of is herself, apparently, and not the city.
Well, yeah, Gavin, I'm glad you came on. I was getting to the next topic, but what do you think about this thing in New York? And they talking about we want to recognize the term birthing persons.
I just saw that. I was just tuning in because I got your text message. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, look, this is New York. New York City is already, if I'm not mistaken, they approved, as what the brother was talking about being too far left. They approved for voting. The city council approved for voting illegal immigrants to have the right to vote, which I thought was illegal because if you're not in the United States legally, you broke the law, so you shouldn't even be allowed to vote in the first place. They have these laws, some of the most strictest gun laws in America, which impacts your Second Amendment rights. And they, of course, being New York City, they are the biggest proponents, especially up there on, you go up to Broadway, the proponents of LGBTQ. So it doesn't surprise me that they have changed the politics there in New York and even in California is just bad. And if you follow anything, California is the largest state in the largest population in the country, the largest state with the most population in the country. And you look at New York, that's the largest city in America, actually one of the largest, biggest cities in the world, right? So usually we go as the population goes. But this is the reason why you would want an electoral college, because if it were by majority rules, basically everybody Democrat would become the president. And I'm looking at every Democratic candidate would be winning a nomination for anything. And I'm actually glad this is coming out for this reason. Come November, we're going to see, I honestly believe, a sea of red in for every election you see. Maybe not in the liberal states, the liberal cities like New York, and maybe not even in and of course not in California, but every other elsewhere it's moderate or it's in the middle, it's going to go red like it did last year, because people are tired of having this agenda pushed down their throats. They're tired of having their children to go into learning about, sex when they're only 6 or 7 years old. This is the same city, let's not forget, where you have teachers that are teaching kids about masturbation 6, 7 years old. So this doesn't surprise me that this is going on. It's a sign of the times, man. We're already, they say that we're going down the hill. We already are down the hill. We just haven't hit rock bottom just yet. It's coming though.
You know what? I agree with you 100%. It is coming. Let me bring this little point up. This ain't me. Oh yeah, Gavin. Wait a minute. Let me that. What do you think about Hillary Clinton and Megan Thee Stallion having their little meeting together?
I didn't watch. Well, I didn't even watch it. But I mean, this is what everything they want of black women. I mean, what did you think of the Megan Thee Stallion with the She-Hulk?
Oh God.
I mean, this is what they think.
The Woman King is coming out, Gavin. So I mean, it's coming out. Let me tell you something about that, Gavin. I was talking to a guy at the gym. I told Chaq the thing, and the guy said his wife's woman or dating or whatever comes and says something about the woman king coming out and he said, well, I don't want to go see it because, it sounds like he said, they say Queen Elizabeth died, but it's a queen. So I didn't know a woman could be a king. She was like, it's just a title of a movie. She was like, so you don't want to see women fighting and stuff? He said, I just don't like it. I don't like the movie. His wife told him, or a woman that he dating told him, whatever, said, man, you don't like it. And daggone, you ain't got to sleep beside me and I ain't gonna cook for nothing. She told him he was a sexist. I said, well, how long you messing with? He said, I've been messing with her 3 years. Well, I said, well, hey, man, that's what the woman king meant to do. It's meant to divide. That's all it's meant to do. So it is. Very easy.
Well, I suggest people to go look up the history of that tribe, but that kingdom, the Dahomey kingdom, because I think that's what it's based off of. Those people over there called it Dahomey, I think, Dahomey Amazon kingdom or some shit like that. I'd surprise people go check that history and check the history of what they were, what they really about before you go see this movie, because they're going to spin the story. Do your own research.
And then that kingdom, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, Shaq, but it didn't last long with all female regiments, right?
It did not. We just not hearing about it now.
It didn't last long.
It did not.
Right. Why do y'all think? Why not? And why you think it didn't last long?
Yeah, I know men to protect the kingdom.
Correct.
Well,
see, you say, but you
like
say
I
something
said,
like
check
that.
the history.
Sexist.
Hey man,
but check the history and see who they was fighting for, what they was fighting over.
Gavin, everything is sexist. You're a homophobe. You're a sexist. You're a misogynist. You're this. You're that. You're fat phobic. All this other. They got so many goddamn names for all this shit, right? Call me anything. Shit. All right. Let me get this one thing. This is coming January 1st in Chicago, because I got to show y'all something about my buddy in Chicago. He's doing great work. But let me get this one thing first. I'm going to show you something else in Chicago going on. I got to get him on my show.
He gave the public a heads up about what's going to happen after January 1st. That is when the law takes effect and eliminates cash bail and makes it more difficult for prosecutors to hold defendants in jail before trial.
So if I commit my 10th offense, DUI, I'm not a threat to a specific identified person. I'm only a threat to society at large. So we cannot file a verified petition to detain that individual.
The Grundy County Sheriff said that Class B and C misdemeanors will no longer be arrestable offenses under this new law. For example, trespassing and assault.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Well, Illinois, they're getting rid of cash bail.
Setup.
They're getting rid of cash bail January 1st. Hey, come on in, baby. Let the cow.
We'll talk about it, Gavin. Just because they're getting rid of cash bail don't mean those guys are not, whoever those people getting locked up are not being detained. Don't mean they still ain't going to get charged for the crimes they commit. You're just going to be out without bail. Stupid, committing more crimes on top of the crime that you already committed, and waiting for the to see the judge. It's a setup.
Well, what I'm reading, this is called the Pretrial Fairness Act, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm reading this because I'm getting two different things, and this is why it's important, I guess, to differentiate between what's fake news and what's real news, because I'm seeing on one website they're saying no, there is no purge law in Illinois, and then I'm looking at another news article where the state attorney general is warning. He says, and I quote, the state attorney general of Illinois, that the Illinois Safety Act poses serious threat to public. So who to trust when I read these different articles? That's the first thing. It's important, number one, I think if everybody is, and you talked about this, Shaq, just with the Dahomey kingdom, about reading stuff before you go see it, everybody needs to read the actual act. Now, I haven't read it, so I can't really comment on it, but let's just say this. From the news report, certain offenses, and I saw this picture that was circulating on Facebook. There are certain offenses that you could be arrested for that you no longer will be arrested for. Am I gathering that? And these include even violent offenses.
Correct.
So
or they can get a trespassing charge, basically.
I saw this and confirm if it's not true, but did they say second-degree murder was one of those charges?
Second-degree kidnapping, DUIs, and something else. Yeah.
But second-degree murder was under that as well?
Yeah, they had a list of things. I'm about to go back and go get the whole thing. I just have been reading about it. But trespassing for sure was one of them, and assault.
Well, as a defense attorney, I mean, obviously, that's good for me as far as my business. But I can tell you that does not, in Chaq, you're absolutely right. It doesn't mean that that you're not going to be charged with the crime. You can be charged with it still. What they're saying is that they just don't have to hold you, because I take it they're doing this because they're claiming the prisons are overcrowded in that state and they want to lighten the load as possible. Am I right? That's what it sounds like.
Well, yeah, but they're also claiming that the racism and fairness. You know what they talking about. So they on that kick.
You know what's gonna happen? It's gonna be spun around to the new Willie. Remember that Willie Horton ad they did in the 80s? All of that stuff is gonna be spun around again.
Well, Biden Safe for America plan already tell you he planned to put 100,000 cops on the street. History always repeats.
They're trying to create the police state, man. They want to bring military in and special forces in to do I guess police work or law enforcement work, man. I don't know.
Whatever happened to the laws that they
Fetterman
had?
was the same thing in Bishop State.
Whatever happened to? I had a question. What happened to the George Floyd Policing Act that Biden was supposed to pass?
Oh, that's done, man.
What about? Or better yet, what about the John Lewis bill? That voting, everything in favor of John Lewis because he got his butt whipped, and I'll spill blood on that bridge. I'm not trying. I'll spill blood on that bridge and someone got trouble. Jason Black and Tariq Nasheed have gone at. I don't like to speak ill of the dead in John Lewis, and I'm not trying to, but they like these. They couldn't even get that. They call John Lewis a hero, but they won't even get a bill. They can't even get his bill passed through. So all of the stuff that they have, that they said they were going to do for black people, for having Biden's back, he's not doing. Remember, they attacked Ice Cube because Ice Cube was trying to hold him accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Ice Cube was trying to hold him accountable. There were black people, countless blacks telling you don't vote. Judge Joe Brown, of course, telling you don't vote Democrat. Tariq Nasheed talking about it. And now we're living through it because now everybody knows putting these Democrats in office was a big mistake. I'm registered as and I tell you, I'm registered as a Democrat. I'm fed up with them. I'm actually switching to independent. Only reason why I'm registered as a Democrat is to vote in primaries, but honestly, I'm independent. My vote is for sale.
Hey, that leftist liberal.
Can I ask you a question about your vote being for sale? Now,
go ahead.
Because on my next article, I'm gonna play my buddy right here, and then I got Miss Harris coming up. I got to talk about Miss Harris. She says there's nothing going on in the border. The border is the most secure it's been. We had so many problems under the Trump administration.
No, you know what Judge Joe Brown says. Oh, come Queen Harris. Oh, goddamn that hyena.
Yeah, and I gotta talk about these so-called extremists too, Gavin, because everybody's an extremist these days. But you know what? Y'all don't believe what's going on in Illinois. The brother right here I'm about to play, good friend of mine, Paul. Thank you, Paul, for when I came to Chicago. You treated me good, you and Chairman Fred Hampton. And but they got a lot of problems going on, and I'm gonna show you what he's saying in this video, that black women are being denied Section 8 assistance in favor of illegal immigrants, and illegal immigrants are getting bussed in. Illegal immigrants are getting put to the front of the bus, and black folks going to the back of the bus. You ain't getting no housing. You ain't getting none of that. They getting it. By October, 3 million people, actually 3.8, I think, more so on the verge of being homeless. He's telling you that it's a lot of homeless people in the state of Illinois and Chicago right now. But let me go ahead and play it. I want y'all to hear this because this is some interesting information. It will be kind of interesting for you. Just listen to this.
Mr. McKinley, could you explain to us the backdrop of Section 3 and how it came about?
Section 3 was put in effect by President Nixon in 1968 because there was a public housing boom around the country. Chicago is the second largest public housing residence, second to New York. When they put Section 3 in place, it was put in place to help residents who lived in public housing to be able to get a job. 30% of the contracts, job opportunities supposed to go to the residents or people who lived in the neighborhood. Section 3 also had a provision for contractors. So it was 10% of all work should have been done by low income, Section 3, Section 8 residents.
So there are actually residents that live within the housing that were also business owners getting these contracts?
Right, originally.
Okay.
What happened was all that under daily was stopped. And when it was stopped, you start having a lot of violence in public house. Because what they did was they shift the jobs, contracts, and opportunities that would have ordinarily went to the people in the community. They shifted they outsourced it to people who were not Section 3, and they basically violating the Section 3 clause, even right now. So Kwame Raoul hasn't did anything concerning this.
To your knowledge, has Kwame Raoul ever investigated any of these public housing matters?
None of these public housing matters have not been investigated. The mayor's office has been silent on it. You heard her statement. We're going to welcome these people in. We're going to look at these people all the city services. That means house. Because they can't live in alleys somewhere. They can't live on the bridge. These people are up there moving these people to public house.
And there's 2 bus loads of approximately 150 people. Is that
that's the first bus load. They sent another bus load.
And to my knowledge, there's over 50,000 homeless people in the city of Chicago right now.
There's never been an emergency plan by Governor Pritchett, by Kwame Raoul, or by the mayor to deal with black women who has a housing crisis. There's never been no one ever got into them and said, we're going to make sure all these women got some money. That's never happened.
Do you have any understanding of how many homeless black women there are in the communities?
It's in that number. It's about 10,000 because the homeless women, you don't see them in the streets. They're what they call couch surfers. So they may live with their aunt, they may live with their auntie, they live with their uncle, but they really don't have no place to stay.
Okay.
They really don't have no place. And public housing has a waiting list. And that's the other part of this loss. That the public housing waiting list has had people on the waiting list 5 and 6 years. These newcomers, they're not on the waiting list. They say that this is an emergency.
That's what I was going to ask you. So right now we have a waiting list for public housing for black ladies. They've been on that list for years, and they're going to get looked over, and they're going to put illegal immigrants in these properties instead.
Because they say that they have listed them as an emergency. But the blacks, they have not listed them as an emergency.
So they're going to play words with the word. They're going to play with the word emergency and allow this public housing to go to illegal aliens instead of ladies that have been on that list for years.
Well, what they're doing is
so our if I say it this way, we have a finite amount of public housing dollars in the Chicago Housing Authority earmarked for Chicago Housing Authority, and they're using those funds in part for illegal aliens instead of the residents of the city of Chicago.
And they're also using the land bank. And the land bank has a program where they're not allowing African Americans to have access to those houses. And that money also is HUD money. So they took some HUD money and gave it to the land bank to buy houses. So they bought these properties, but we don't have access to buy these properties. They're giving these properties also to immigrants. Got it.
My man, that was my good buddy Paul from down there in Chicago. I'm gonna call him tomorrow to talk about that. I happened to see it tonight. He posted it. I reposted it. Send it to I think one or two people. But then you see it on the show. Interesting prospect. I talked to him 2 weeks ago. And we talked about the same person who was in Atlanta over the Chicago head of public housing. They went to Atlanta. They displaced residents. They went to Minnesota and they replaced them with Somalis. Now they getting replaced with whoever else they got them, Hispanics, Asians, so forth and name it. So basically, he told you 50,000 people in the city of Chicago homeless, and he told you about 10,000, 15,000 black women are basically couch sitting. Isn't that something, Chaq and Gavin, what I just played there? Isn't that kind of interesting?
Let me add some caveat to that. See, let's go back to this pandemic, right? This pandemic was to kill multiple birds with one stone, right? It was supposed to knock out multiple birds, and one of it was to knock out some older people that know this information from the grassroots out, right? This stuff ain't written in no book. Some of this stuff we wouldn't get unless these people come out and speak. That's been around here years, 60, 70 years, right? That's been in the trenches. So, you know what I mean? They want to knock out some of them. You know what I mean? Knock out some older people because I say that we're going through Reconstruction 3.0. I've been saying it for the longest. You know what I mean? Go back and check the history. This is the same stuff that's been going on. Well, that was going on. They moving people out. They moving people in. They bringing immigrants in from all across the country into these regular so-called black neighborhoods. The early 1900s, you had all the race riots going on because of the same thing. You was bringing foreigners in onto American soil and definitely into predominantly black areas. They're doing this shit all over again, man. It's a land grab. The land is where the wealth at, man.
What do you think, Gavin?
Yeah, I think it's a travesty what's going on. It goes in line again with what we've been talking about, the plan and motives of the far left that we see here. When you have, especially now since the Biden administration has been in office, they've made their entire movement has been to basically allow open reign on our borders. And I just never thought, and this is just a logical perspective, it made any sense for anybody, especially during a pandemic, to have an open border policy when you have a pandemic that's going on that is being, remember this was in 2020 when he got elected, and when 2021 when he was sworn in, they've basically reversed everything that Donald Trump had put into place. And so now, as you know, and the reason why Donald Trump won in part was because people were getting tired of the leftist politics that were being shoved down their throats. So now that they know that they're likely not to get reelected, that and I predict this to be a red November, they have enacted these policies that have just allowed all of these groups to come in so they can get support. But the interesting thing and why it's going to backfire on them, Bernard and Shaq, is that if you notice anything, especially about the Hispanic community, they're conservative. They actually vote more Republican than they do Democrat. So all of the stuff that they're providing for them, like the Dreamers Act and allowing them to vote November, like in New York and so forth, this is all going to backfire. It actually would have happened. It actually could have and should have happened in 2020. In 2020, because if you know, when Trump took Florida, he won unanimously down there. It wasn't even close. But this thing, this thing that's going on with public housing, ever since Katrina, especially what happened here in New Orleans, they made it mixed income. Now, public housing, I know people who lived in public housing at the time of Katrina, and when it happened, they weren't even allowed to go back in the building to get their items when they were busted out in Houston and Atlanta and all these other places. And they basically gentrified that whole area. And I can tell you the areas where I live in that is completely not the same. Now, that's not to say that I liked anything about low income housing. I didn't. I thought that the projects were dilapidated. They were not fixed up. But that was a crisis that was caused by the politicians. They allowed stuff to be blighted so they could bring the property value down and get black folks out of there, which is what they do.
Doing it all again.
And they do it, and that's the MO they do everywhere across the
You might
country.
be asking yourself, can you
Yep, nobody
actually
ever
create
asked
high
themselves,
quality
you
live
gotta
stream
ask
for
plan.
free? Well, with StreamYard,
Has anybody ever asked themselves how is it?
I cut it
Has
off.
anyone ever asked themselves, this is just out of curiosity, how is it across every country there's always a ghetto? Across every state in the United States, every state in this country, there's a ghetto in some major metropolitan area, in every major city.
Well, the ghetto was created by government, just like just like Germany. It was created over in Germany by the Nazis. The ghettos were created, so that's a government funded system, operating system, create ghettos.
Yeah, but why? That's not the question I'm asking. Just why is it? Yeah, I get that, but you ever noticed that no one's ever thought about that is in every city? Why do we have that? Ghetto is somewhere where we shouldn't be something we should be embracing. It shouldn't be somewhere we're leaving.
Think about it. What? Okay, well, break down what entails a ghetto. What makes a area specifically a ghetto?
If you're talking about the ghetto, if you're talking about the hood, when you're talking about, okay, let's start. Low economics, no economic development. You have no poor access to healthcare in the area you live in. You have crime. Although crime is crime is everywhere, even in some suburban areas. But the thing is, they actually have more stronger ties even with their police departments, things of that nature. That's what I'm talking about as far as it comes. If you want to say the ghetto or low or the hood, and actually ghetto is actually a Jewish term.
It is.
That actually started. You're right. It did start in Germany.
Yep.
With the Nazis, because they had the Jewish ghettos, but they applied it here with blacks, because if you remember, there was a time at one point, especially after slavery, black people actually outnumbered whites. We outnumbered, our ancestors outnumbered whites. They got scared.
In business too. Don't forget now, in business now, we were the iron workers and the wood shop workers. You know what I mean? Working the fields.
Man that invented the car.
There you go.
The Patterson. Yeah, there. Tariq Nasheed has his Hidden Colors films. They talk about that. What Henry Ford is credited for, he's not credited for creating the automobile. He's credited for mass production. Meaning he was able to produce it at a faster rate, but he didn't create the automobile.
Now let me bring up something right here that y'all talking about. That I wanted to bring up right quick. Just because we got to get to Gavin too. Gavin been doing a lot of things. All right, we got Gavin. I know it's HBCU football season. I'm just saying Kamala Harris coming to HBCU to say ski wee. She might be coming there. I don't know. Who knows? But Miss Harris has met with civil rights and reproductive rights leaders Monday to discuss how to protect women's health care following the recent U.S. Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe versus Wade. The meeting came after the coalition of civil rights groups sent a letter to President Biden urging him to address the impacts of the High Court decision in Dowd versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, which Senate on a Mississippi law that banned abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy. We know that the Supreme Court had made a decision endowed to take a constitutional right that had been recognized from the people of America, from the women of America, that has created a health crisis in America. Harris said during a 25-minute briefing before the start of the closed door session. What I'm saying, are they still on this crap, man? That's all I gotta say. I ain't got to go through no other. Are they still on this crap again, man? Damn, do y'all ever give it a break? Meeting with civil rights.
No, they can't, because that's their bread and butter. It's gay rights and women's rights. Okay. Gay rights and reproductive rights. But they call it, they always say it's reproductive. You know, everything's got a right. Even trees got rights. Animals got rights.
Well, can I ask you a question, Gavin?
Not our rights yet.
Can I ask you a question, Gavin? And Shaq, I gotta ask a question. I was talking to a lady one time, right? And we talk about this thing, right? I said, "What is reproductive rights?" I'm serious. Like, you might be saying that's a trick question. What is it? No, because what I thought, I'm just telling how I thought. Nature is, hey, man, woman, sperm gets implanted, makes a seed, has a child. It's called the cycle of life, the reproductive process, right? So there is no right to it. This is a natural thing. So by them saying reproductive rights, they trying to tell you whether we gonna give you the right to have a baby or not, if you asking me, because it ain't no right. It's nature itself. So I don't know what the hell they talking about. There's some crazy stuff they doing. That's just me.
Everything, like I said, like you said, you answered the question. Everything has to have a right now. So reproductive rights, you know, they phrase it now as a way to justify abortion. You know, at one point it wasn't called reproductive rights. You know, they talked about equal right. It was the suffrage movement to get women the right to vote, which we agreed with. But then it changed. The suffrage movement, then it became women's rights, women's liberation. Now it's reproductive rights. And we have to go back and ask ourselves the question, what is a right?
What's a right? What's an act? What's a bill? What's a law?
Where do rights come from? Do rights come from man, or do they come from somebody above man? Because we know that if we say rights come from man, remember something, man can always change his mind. We had not too long ago, this was a country that stated that blacks were not considered human. We had a Chief Justice in Roger Taney who wrote that in his decision in Dred Scott versus Sanford. So it wasn't that in 1857. It wasn't a long time ago.
When I hear reproductive, I'm thinking in the mind of the right to reproduce, right? They talking about in reverse. You're promoting none.
They want the right to kill our kids.
Huh? Did y'all hear the new song, Gavin?
I saw the video, Angela Stanton King. I think I know what you're talking about. The Planned Parenthood video.
Oh my God, boy! Look, all I can say is Kevin Samuel come back. That's my hashtag from here on out. Kevin Samuel come back, because this is man. God damn.
You're a man hater, according to those women about talking about Kevin Samuel.
How can I be a man hater? I'm not saying kill you. I'm not telling you to kill you, baby.
Woman hater.
Oh, woman hater.
Woman massage.
Well, we don't have any women no more. We have females that's portraying to be women. So that's what we have.
That's what it is.
Yeah, we don't have any women no more. We have females that portraying to be women. They haven't transformed into women yet. They're still females.
Now, I'm gonna ask Gavin a question about this thing.
I'm gonna see if I can answer it.
Because there's a lot of felt, and you know I'm gonna play two clips. And what has Biden been talking about lately, Gavin? He's been talking about these mega extremists that are threatening our democracy and trying to, you know, crazy stuff. You know how it goes, right? I'm just telling you. It's a funny thing I was saying, man. Hold on, man. Let me get to that.
Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal.
Oh, I ain't pausing it. Whoa.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. Now, I want to be very clear up front. Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country. MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to who you love. They promote authoritarian leaders and they fan the flames of political violence that are a threat to our personal rights, to the pursuit of justice, to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country. They look at the mob that stormed the United States Capitol on January 6th, brutally attacking law enforcement, not as insurrectionists who placed a dagger at the throat of our democracy, but they look at them as patriots. And they see their MAGA failure to stop a peaceful transfer of power after the 2020 election as preparation for the 2022 and 2024 elections. They tried everything last time to nullify the votes of 81 million people. This time, they're determined to succeed in thwarting the will of the people.
All right, Gavin. All right, Gavin. What I'm saying. There's a lot of talk about these lately, and these mega mainstream Republicans. All this talk about this mega fascists and all that stuff. You know, to cut the throat in the heart of our democracy and all that stuff. Man, you sound like a damn rambler, and you also sound like a damn Nazi. Matter of fact, you are a Nazi.
Gavin, has there ever been a president that made that type of speech? That was hate speech. You ever made that type of hate speech toward another American candidate or potential candidate or a party?
I mean, if you want to go back to the 1800s, there have been presidents who have made hate speeches about a certain group of people, but I've never seen.
Well, he's attacking voters.
I've never seen this fixation on one man who's not even in the White House.
Wow.
Well, he's attacking voters now, though, Gavin. He's going a little bit further off Donald Trump now. He's attacking the way people voted now. That's a little bit more, to me, off the cuff there.
But everything he listed was actually what they're doing. No? What the leftist Democrats are doing. No?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's what he's talking about. I'm just letting you know, all this talk about extremists, and Hillary Clinton came on the other day talking about that the speech was necessary and it was right, because you got to call out these extremists and all that. I'm like, look. All this talk of extremism and all that stuff. And I'm not even gonna play Kamala Harris' whole thing because she talking about on 9/11, she had a thing talking about she was very, very concerned about the way the country is going and the threat to democracy. All right, look, baby, I'm just gonna make this very clear. Your thing is about the threat to democracy. all the time. Like he just stood up there and said, right to you, you're not gonna have the right to murder who you love, the right to choose. You're talking about the people that you associate with. You ain't talking about the way everybody else feel. Everybody else don't feel that way. You had a little press secretary that said you don't vote the way or think the way the rest of America feel, you are extremists. Well, guess what? You got a whole lot of extremists then if that's what you're saying, and you not in the majority because everybody don't agree with your madness. Okay, so that's how it goes. Right? Am I wrong for saying that? Hold on, you bring it up. You might be getting mad with us. Oh, you sound like you're in a tunnel, man. You sound like you're in a tunnel, man. Click out, come back in, man.
Oh, they messing you up, dog.
Oh no, you good. You good, there you go. Go ahead.
What about now? Is it better?
Yeah, that's better.
That's much better.
I don't know. I've been sitting in the same spot. But I'm saying what she talking about? These leftists, is they not in control? What are they talking about? They scared of? What are you scared of? You got a whole military backing you up. Y'all in control. Y'all done pushed all y'all policies. The first 100 days, y'all done pushed all y'all policies on the American people, whether we liked it or not. We had no choice to make. Y'all talking about somebody these MAGA, you scared about these MAGA.
I'm still here.
Nah, you're fine. I don't know what's going on. They probably messing with him, but it's okay. Go ahead.
It
What do
could
you
be.
think? All this talk about extremism and fascists.
Well, what's going on right now is that right now what they're doing essentially, Bernard, is they need to go ahead and have a boogeyman of the month. And Donald Trump is always going to be the boogeyman as long as Joe Biden is in the White House. They're all focused on him. They're going to focus on that. They're going to focus on these extremists. Look, and I'm not saying that I care for them either way I do, and I don't. I don't support them. But bottom line is that excuse me, I'm sorry, I keep hearing this beeping sound in my house. I was wondering what the hell's going on. So no, as I was saying is that it doesn't matter. It At this point, they're gonna keep what Biden is doing. Essentially, it's divisive, and it's dividing the nation right now. Of course, this nation, I would agree, it's been divided for a long time. I just think that a lot of this is just being made out in the public now. People aren't ashamed of saying how they really feel. I mean, if you want to look at that, look at what's going on with the Disney movie, The Little Mermaid, with the black actress, just to see how the white supremacists are losing their minds over stuff like this. So, I mean, we're in the battle of words right now, and I honestly think that this is going to backfire on them in November. Just keep watching.
Well, you know what that shows, brother? When you talk about all this, you're trying to make people scared. Well, let me say something, brother. You know, they've been talking about again the deadly gun control. Now you got Visa, MasterCard saying they tracking your credit card purchases to find out what you buying a gun for and all. That's why you buying, but they trying to track your purchases. This is the moving police state, and they are treating us like enemies. Oh, no, you know what? They're not treating. We are the enemies of the goddamn state. Ain't no treating, you are. So that's what it is. That's what the movie called Enemy of the State. They are showing you every day that you are enemy of the state. That's what Biden told you. He's not lying. These mega right-wing fascists. But regardless of all that, Gavin, they did indict R. Kelly on child pornography charges. So they say, which is, I guess, fine. Oh, by the way, one thing, Gavin, I know you and Sean James were talking about Lizzo one day. She came out and said that at the Emmys that she was so proud that she never thought a fat woman like her would win an award like this. And she's so honored.
You ever heard of Hattie McDaniel?
Yeah, I heard of that.
She won the first Oscar. She won the first Oscar, black woman to win the Oscar, although she played a mammy and Gone with the Wind. Let me just say this: what you want to start with R. Kelly?
Yeah.
Let me say that. Talk about that. I believe
Yeah.
he was found guilty on 5 counts of child pornography, and I believe he may have been acquitted on the other charges because he had several others. But his co-defendants were acquitted on everything. Now, if they participated in any way, shape, or form, and here's the oxymoron with that, with R. Kelly in doing all of these things, then doesn't that make them just as guilty? Or should?
Co-conspirator, ain't that what that means?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now let me say this too, because as a lawyer, there is something called an appeals process that is done. They have a right. A defendant always has a right to appeal his charges or his convictions, I should say, that's been levied against them. And if they find any wrongdoing, if there was what we call reversible error, for instance, it's my understanding there was a juror who got sick and they had to replace that juror. Did that factor into the guilty verdict? Maybe, maybe not. Uh, you know, I know that Jennifer Bongine, she's a smart lawyer. She actually moved for a mistrial because the co-defendants tried to distance themselves as much as they can from R. Kelly and made some remarks. The attorneys made some remarks, and she moved for a mistrial, and the judge denied it. But here's the thing with the whole Me Too thing. If you've noticed, everything now, when they want to go after somebody, particularly a black man, and please don't interpret this as me defending R. Kelly, but I do defend the Constitution. But what they do now is that, have you noticed they shoot a documentary? And
Yeah.
they shoot a documentary. It gets the people riled up because we heard about all of this stuff, at least for me, going back to when he married Aaliyah in the 90s. He was tried in Chicago on these child porn charges before in state court. He got acquitted. They did this in federal court to go around double jeopardy because it's 2 different jurisdictions, federal court and state court. And because of the negative press with the docu-series that came on Lifetime, that that really destroyed R. Kelly. It's done. Like the minute I heard, if you had heard charges were coming down on you, I'd have done. I don't care how it looked. I would have probably done like Russell Simmons and sold everything and moved to Fiji, because that's what he did. He moved out the country.
Bali.
Remember, they had a documentary on Russell that that Oprah was a part of. She was a part of that. She was a part of the Michael Jackson documentary. She had something to do with that. She always goes after black men, and these documentaries that are coming out, it's really a reflection, and it goes back even to OJ Simpson, because when they had that OJ Made in America documentary, if you looked at it, it was done from the perspective of the OJ did it narrative. But I'm old enough to remember, especially watching the trial, that Mark Furman, who was a known fucking racist, he planted that glove. He not only planted the glove, I believe he also planted the sock, because at one point you didn't see any socks on the floor, and then when you turn the video camera, you see the socks again, and you heard them actually saying, "Judge Joe Brown has said this. Mr. Furman, get out of the room. You can't be here." The blood that was poured through the blood looked like it was poured through one sock into the other. It didn't look like a blood splatter. So there was reasonable doubt with that. But if you talk to anybody else, especially in mainstream media, they always gonna say what? He did it. I don't care. Well, the jury found him guilty. Well, the jury did juror nullification. This is what they do. So, he may very well appeal those charges. He's dealing with the ones in New York. I believe Jennifer has filed an appeal and given her grounds for that. Could it be overturned? It's possible. But what we got though, and we got to be careful with this, is that juries are reacting on an emotional basis, because how can I give Bernard, and I say this to you and I say this to Shaq, how as a lawyer, for instance, we talk about the liberal laws in California and New York, if you're changing the laws on statute of limitations, somebody can go back 40, 50 years and say, you touched my booty. I'm being real. You touched their
Right.
booty. Like you're at the Playboy Mansion, like they did with Bill Cosby. They got a picture with you and Bill Cosby, but is there anything inappropriate about the picture? Well, other than the fact that you shouldn't have been there at the Playboy Mansion, no. But I'm gonna use that, and that's enough to win a lawsuit against me. Just because you say it happened.
Now, let me say something. Speaking of that, let me bring up something. Gavin probably hasn't been shown about 2 months, but he does have a book called The State versus Bill Cosby. So,
It's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Commonwealth.
Cosby.
Yes, he has a book on that.
And it's on Amazon. And the easiest way to get it is through Kindle. I'm trying to get it in paperback now. I got to work on that. So I've been busy with that.
I understand. But it's interesting that the R. Kelly thing comes up.
Yeah.
You already made a book about Bill Cosby. So it's interesting about that. It goes to show you, though, that after Gayle King had an interview with him, he was done, man. But, here's attack on manhood. So I look at it a little deeper than just R. Kelly. I think they're really trying to send a subliminal message, more so than just R. Kelly or Bill Cosby. Anything. This is a message that don't y'all act up. But I look at it, that we've been getting bamboozled for a long time. And I see Frank is talking about it's not RICO if his co-conspirators got off or CODs got off or whatever. So, yeah.
Well, let me
charge him with the Mann Act, correct?
Well, let me say this. If I could just respond to that, double RICO, the RICO laws were designed to go after mafia members, not rock and roll stars. Now, yes, it's true. You can have people can be acquitted. I mean, we just had a federal case here and an income tax invasion where the co-conspirator was convicted, but the principal was acquitted because that's who the government really wanted to go after. They wanted to go after our district attorney, Jason Williams. They didn't really want his ADA, but she got on the hook for it. So it does happen. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So with this last case, this one you're talking about now, Calvin, with R. Kelly, the young girl is still the same young girl, supposedly 14 she was 14 at the time, back, like I said, with the first case, right?
Right.
She's the same girl that's supposedly been on these tapes and stuff. Like you said, if child porn is a no-no, it's illegal, then how was the co-conspirators able to obtain those tapes, and how was they able to allegedly sell them to whoever they sold them to? Is that not selling child pornography?
Well, what they were accused of, if I'm not mistaken, was basically they were used obstruction of justice, because R. Kelly got accused of, in this case, basically what it is child pornography, but also you paid to have the witnesses not come and testify. So they got him on.
So did they have record of that? They had record. They had tape on them. They had some written statements in.
The tape. My understanding of the so-called tape, and it came up at trial, is that it was edited, which does play a role in that, because if it was edited, how can you authenticate it? You have to, if you had some like people that said we had possession of all of these tapes and so forth, then that is illegal in and of itself. If you have possession of child pornography, even if you're not on it, you could still be tried. But they gave the witnesses immunity.
Well, yeah, we're not trying to defend R. Kelly. We're just trying to make sure we sort everything out because things get convoluted, you know what I mean? And
right. But it's wrong. But here's the thing, Chaq. Our minds are so fucked up right now that we got to put a disclaimer up just so that people don't think that we're supporting a child predator or we support child pornography. It should be understood we're not supporting it.
Right. This is what has happened to you. What if this supposedly you get tangled up in something like this and you just want the full extent of the law? You want all your rights to be, you know what I mean, expressed, right? You don't want nobody cut no short corners and you know what I mean? So that's all we trying to state here, you know what I mean?
But it's interesting. But
yeah,
I'm gonna say that the assault on manhood has been going on and it's going on. They try to me, but daggone, now they talking about Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears. Now Tiffany Haddish. But let me say something. To me, Aries Spears thing is kind of crazy because he just had made a comment about Lizzo, and then like a week later they bring this up. So I guess they just say, let's get him now. You know, he made a comment. You know,
well, people who live, well, the old saying, people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Yeah.
They want to make example of him. I mean, that video that was up. Let me just say this because as a comedian myself, as someone who's written sketch, it was a horrible sketch. It was an extreme poor take.
That's it. Yep.
It was extreme poor. Here's what it is. At best, it's extreme poor taste, and at worst, it's illegal. It may be illegal. But here's the thing, also. Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish, they are actors. That's true. And there have been movies. There have been movies about child predators. The last movie I saw with Liam Neeson, he plays an assassin that goes after a person who was involved in a child sex ring, and they talked about it. Now, they never showed something like this in graphic detail. And honestly, seeing Aries Spears with his raccoon eyes looking through a newspaper at a little boy's crotch, that was a lot for me. And I couldn't. When I saw him in the newspaper, I had to turn it off because I wasn't looking for the video, Bernard. But I saw the name was trending. Right when you're on Twitter and you see stuff is trending, you look at it and the timeline. They had the video up. So as I'm peeking through, looking at it, I saw the little boy first off was half naked, and Tiffany Haddish is carrying him. So she does that, and my understanding, and I met Tiffany Haddish. She was real cool. And Tiffany did that video, supposedly did another video with the girl and boy teaching them how to eat a sandwich at both ends, mimicking fellatio and, from it's all crazy. And they very well could be being extorted because I'm hearing that the mom supposedly wanted $15,000. That's even a low amount for something trying to sue for. Yeah, she's just as to me if she knew that this was going on because I'm hearing she was even hanging out with Tiffany after all this happened. So what does that say?
You are absolutely correct. Allegedly, this woman is supposed to have 5 children from 4 different baby daddies and 4 different marriages, 4 different divorces. And now the 22, 23-year-old sister that was involved in this situation is supposed to be taking guardianship over the 15-year-old brother that was in the. So it's something going on with this family, with her, with the mother, and these children in this family already. We already know something is crazy, got to be going on behind the scenes, right? Now,
well, I think so.
And this mother is a striving. She's supposed to have been a striving comedian too, Galvin too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she's a comedian She was friends with Tiffany.
And she was spotted in 2019 at her, I think, Tiffany's birthday party. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what the hell going on, but I don't know. You know.
Well,
This Hollywood.
It's Hollywood. Yeah, it's Hollywood. They do weird stuff. I mean, they do strange for a piece of change.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
And that's essentially what it was. I mean, I've seen I thought, and I get comedians, and I can say in fairness, Frank, I can say in fairness, Shaq, I have seen sketches. If you go and look at Saturday Night Live, they have a sketch with Adam Sandler and Alec Baldwin called Canteen Boy, where Alec Baldwin's hitting on Adam Sandler. I've seen in Living Color, they made fun of Woody Allen and his stuff. And he had
Dave Chappelle, the R. Kelly, piss on me, PPP, I piss on you. Come on, man.
Even before Dave Chappelle, Ari Spears did a skit of R. Kelly, calling him the world's greatest statutory rapist, making fun of that Ali video he made, that song for the.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So they've always had
even Eminem. Even Eminem in one of his songs, he insinuated in one of his videos that the priest was trying to rape the boy. Well, Eminem was trying to get closer to the young boy. So it's in Hollywood. They promote that type of stuff, man. I hate to say it. We need to put a stop to it. You know.
Well, even in the movie Airplane. I mean, look, the jokes they had in the movie Airplane. If you remember that movie, when the little boy's in the cockpit. Wow, I've never been in a plane before, and the pilot asked him, "Hey, well, you ever seen a grown man naked? You ever been in a gymnasium?"
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
what about Soul Plane? When as soon as the girl turned 18, nigga, they was all them grown ass men was running and chasing after her. Pretty much was trying to go get her. It was a go when she turned 18. Like they waiting for her to turn 8 like midnight. You know what I mean? Waiting on the. So they make these type of comedic, cross the border comic jokes and stuff, man. Which I don't like them. You know what I mean? But what we gonna do? Is we gonna stop them all? Is we gonna stop a big studio, a big film studio, and they come out with another movie talking about rape, like when they reenact a rape scene or reenact some type of molestation scene or some shit. You know what I mean? I want everybody to take ownership because a lot of parents have been too lackadaisical with their children and introducing them into adult stuff. You know, we hear stories about child stars that was traumatized. You know what I mean? And they never was able to get over their traumatization, victimization when they got grown. You know what I'm saying? So, are we to believe them now? You know what I'm saying? Do we get to believe their story? Do they get to tell their story now? Do they get a surviving Hollywood story, surviving Disney, Walt Disney, surviving Nickelodeon story? Do they get to put their story out now? It should be a go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, today's age, you can.
I don't like none of it.
You got a point there, brothers. I'm gonna say something. It's been pretty interesting. I would say that. But you know what? We just gotta learn from experience. Hey, look, Gavin, midterms is less than 2 months away. Don't let them come on Southern campus talking about vote blue no matter who, up, down, left, right, and back and forth. Hey, look, keep it cool. Watch what happens. Also, Gavin, I did report earlier before you came on that there is gonna be a strike on the railroad thing, or they might be quitting altogether, some of them. So just be aware, get your stuff together. Food and supplies could be essential if they're gonna do that. So just be aware. A lot of things going on. But I would like y'all gentlemen to shout out your information and stuff like that. Gavin, I know you got a show, and Shaq, he's trying to get back on the men with his. So gotta get the information out. So Gavin, go ahead and shout out Cash App, everything you got if you want to do.
My Cash App is $ Gavin Richard ESQ. Gavin Richard ESQ. Please donate to the Cash App. I have a show tomorrow that I do Random Topic Thursdays with Sean James. We might have even another special guest. So y'all would want to come through on channel G-Boot 2786 and buy The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr. on Amazon Kindle right now. We're trying to work on getting it in paperback. So thank you, Bernard, for having me. And Shaq, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh man, it's always a pleasure to hear you,
Max, one more
Gavin,
question.
man. You always come with good professional advice, man. You know, and legal advice. You know, we need to have some people on our team that look like us. You know what I mean? That's real talk. You know, somebody to represent us. You know, and then we need more people that's getting into law and civics and you know, politics that look like us, that want to actually love and want to represent us. You know, yeah. So you guys can catch me at CLE Smooth 81 on the gram. You can check me out at CHAQ Edwards on Facebook or Chakaris Edwards on Facebook. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, Bernard.
You give me at Bernard Johnson, KingBJMedia.com, KingBJFitness.com, $1919 BJ Cash App. You want to donate, and 1987 BJ on Twitter, and Bernard 1120 on Instagram. But let me ask Gavin one thing. You know, Gavin, I was thinking about this thing. Oh, damn. They don't knock the light down. Damn. This thing with this mayor, what's her name? Cottrell, right? That's her name, right?
Yeah.
I saw this thing with her the other day. She's saying black women need to ride first class or something. Because on the plane, because black women are disrespected.
That's because yeah, of course, because the city is paying for it. It's just easy for her to say that.
Yeah. She took a trip somewhere too.
She took a trip to France.
Paris. Yeah. Is that on taxpayer dollars?
Yes.
Is she FBA?
She's a pain in the A.
She's a who part of A?
She's pain in the A.
She's pain in the A, huh?
Yeah.
She's part of the so-called woke crowd, but she believes in birthing people and all other crazy shit. But you know what gets me with her though? New Orleans, Memphis, Chicago, and one other state are four of the most violent cities in the country with murders. And she's sitting there talking about that right now. We can talk about that some other time, Mr.
Probably St. Louis. Yeah.
St. Louis, yeah, that's big too. But she, no, but sister, you ain't cutting it with that. I'm like, I ain't even want to hear, hey, look, baby, you flying first class, you getting you taxpayer dollars. Need to get taxpayer dollar back. You know, if you daggone talking this crazy mess, because yeah, okay. I get it though, Gavin. But you know what, Gavin? I've been looking at it. Got a lot of loonies down there. Shoot. So it is what it is. But, you know, I'm glad that you actually sit there and talk about it. And I'm glad that you and Sean have a show. Because like Chaq said, we need this information to get out. Because I'm going to say something. This information is actually about to start coming at a real premium, man, because the way they try and do all this censorship, man, and talk about extremism and all this stuff, they really like getting out of hand. They need to make this a public utility instead of some damn private corporations, because that's what you had the government doing, creating fascism with private corporations, maybe with the public sector and all that stuff. But it is what it is. I get it. That's what they want to do. They're trying to make us a stoppo, and that's why I was asking Gavin one more thing, because I didn't ask you, Gavin. What do you think?
I want to ask him too one more thing about Katrina though.
IRS agents that they talking about. You think that's kind of crazy, right? That's kind of like going overboard, right? I don't know if Gavin's still there, but no, Gavin's still here.
I said I couldn't hear what you said.
Oh, about the 87,000 IRS agent thing.
What about them?
New IRS agents, as a matter of fact, getting all these IRS agents. You don't need a tax army. You ain't hunting no big corporation with all these people. You going after small people.
I don't really know much about it, Bernard. But
okay, we're talking. I'll send it to you, but
Well,
basically,
I can tell. Well, let me tell you something in context too with agents. Do you know in New Orleans we have a shortage of police officers that they're even taking out ads asking for help?
yeah, they got them. They got them in other cities too. Yeah, I seen that.
So this thing with the IRS agents, I don't know if their numbers have been going down. Their numbers have been dwindling the last couple of years.
That's interesting.
But
Well,
it sounds like you're saying that they're getting ready to use them for some political stuff, huh?
well, what they're saying is that, of course, Biden, he's saying that we got to go after the people that stole pandemic loans and you going to pay for what you did and all that daggone. We're going after the big corporations. They won't get away. I know goddamn well if you had that many IRS agents, you ain't going on the big corporation.
First of all, you should have been just giving the money to the people, man. God damn, man. Y'all put us in the pandemic. That money should have just been, like you said, grant money. Just give it to get. You should have been giving the money. Now you want to give it, and then you want to track the money and all this crazy stuff, man. God damn. Y'all give it, then y'all take it. Huh?
It's a setup. But go ahead, Shaq, ask your
But
question.
yeah, I was actually about Katrina, man. When that was going on, man. When FEMA, I guess it was FEMA came in, whoever came in and whatever they deemed and classified, whatever they did. And is it true or false? Were they giving money to some of the people, the displaced people? And if it was, did they make those people have to pay their money back that they gave out? FEMA or whoever gave their money out to the people in some areas.
And to some degree, they were. If you talk about FEMA grant money and so forth, if you're giving federal disaster money, they were giving money out to people. If you were from New Orleans and you lived in this household, they gave out monies. And I mean, they didn't require you to turn that back in because FEMA money, that's disaster money, federal money. That's not a loan. Now, yes, it is true that they were making some people who, say for instance, lied about their situation, weren't really from there. They were making people return money back, and yeah, that was going on here, and some of it wasn't. But FEMA was such a disaster with the way that they handled this whole situation because, as you remember and recall, the people begging for help that was sitting there stranded for days outside the Superdome and convention centers. They actually had a Navy ship that was parked right outside the convention center, and George W. Bush never authorized it to be open as a hospital, as a place of shelter for them. They could have given medical aid to those people, and they didn't.
Wow.
Yep.
But yeah,
They talk about
that's going on
never
in
forget
Jackson, Mississippi too,
9/11.
brother.
Never forget Katrina,
It's
man.
going on in Jackson, Mississippi too right now. A lot of
we
crazy
never
stuff going
figured
on.
that out.
Yeah.
What you think about Jackson, Mississippi? Do you think, because FEMA down there too, do you think it's going to be the same thing? I think it's another way they can wipe out the people, the indigenous people that been there and get them off their land. You know what I mean? When they do these, they have these certain disasters and the response time is garbage.
It could be. It could be. I don't know too much about Jackson. I know that Mississippi is the poorest nation and is the poorest state in the nation, and so that doesn't, that doesn't surprise me with regards to the economics of everything, the fact that the hospital, that the plant wasn't built, didn't have certain safeguards. That's stuff we've been talking about. So this doesn't surprise me.
Well, I'm glad that one thing you had to go through Hurricane Katrina. I'm sorry you went through it, but hey, sometimes the sisters would like to make you stronger because you realize, hey, look, at the end of the day, it's you and the rest around you. Don't worry about Joe Biden talking about to save you because he's trying to paint himself as a white Jesus. And he
But
ain't.
no, I'm sorry. I'll finish this statement, bro. I'm sorry. I got tuned out.
No, I said that daggone, you got to realize, hey, you went through Hurricane Katrina and you can understand people Mississippi going through. And hey, Don't listen to Joe Biden talking about trying to save you, because he told the Mississippi governor, you need to fix the people. But as a Democratic state of the city, he'd be right down there.
Yeah. Well, look, brothers, I gotta run, man.
You better run too. Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna run.
All righty.
Yes, sir. Take your time.
All right.
Brother.
Salute. Peace.
Salute to everybody. And look, just to clarify, what I think everybody understood what I meant when I was talking about the ghetto. I wasn't saying or knocking people that were poor. I'm just talking about what makes, when Chaq asked that question, what makes that, that's what I know from history, is what I've known from my experiences. And I came up and I even lived in poor areas when I lived in Baton Rouge, but I always wanted to, and I always maintain myself in the manner that should be. And it's something that I think we all, and I'm not making fun or knocking. I wasn't trying to knock people that were poor or say that they were bad because of that. I just want to make that clear. So
yes, sir. No, it's all good.
that they lived in that they live in that area. That's not what I mean. So
yes, sir. That's
that
all
doesn't
right.
define you.
No, then take your time.
Thanks, brother. Good night.
Yes, sir.